Welcome to FBB Forum. If you like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe to the FBB Forum YouTube channel and follow my Instagram page. I'm very pleased to welcome the stunning NPC amateur women's physique athlete, Amanda Marie Doherty, to the podcast. Amanda is very new to the sport. Her very first bodybuilding show was at the Branch Warren Classic in Texas at the end of June, almost a week ago. And Amanda mentioned that she is a perfectionist, so she came into the show in pro level condition and shape. She really looked great. Amanda is married and lives in Texas, and I'm really pleased for a chance to speak with her here. And stay tuned to find out where she'll compete next for her pro qualifier. Welcome, Amanda. It's great to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And we talked a little bit about Chris Ghanbari, who has a great Instagram page called Best Muscle Video and YouTube channel. And he posted a really great video of you with stage footage and backstage and even a little backstage interview. So I know you
Yeah,
were
he did
really,
an amazing job. I am just so overwhelmed with gratitude and thrilled. I didn't know that he was going to do that, and just seeing it was just so amazing. Like getting to see yourself in such a great light. And he's such a great videographer. He did a phenomenal job with the video.
oh yeah, I've known Chris for many years, and he's really a terrific guy. And and like we talked about, posted it for free. There wasn't a charge.
Yeah, I
Um,
had no idea he was going to do that. It was such a great surprise.
Yeah, he's so talented, and I think he's definitely helping people discover you now. He
Mhm.
has like 50,000 followers, I think, on YouTube or Instagram. So
Yeah,
yeah.
he said the video is doing really well, and he's got something else planned too. So can't wait to see that.
Always got more footage of you.
Yeah, he said he was doing something else with the stage videos that he took of me.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, he's good with editing, and I don't know about all the editing stuff, so I'll let him do that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of getting started in bodybuilding, I was wondering if you had an athletic or sports background before you started.
So honestly, when I was a kid, I was really overweight. Like I was the nerd in the library, just reading books.
Wow.
And I'd go home and eat sandwiches and read more books.
Oh,
But
wow, really?
at some point, I just kind of decided that I didn't want to be that person anymore. Also because my family has a history of like diabetes and high blood pressure, and I just wanted to be healthy. So I started walking, and then I got into cycling, so riding my bike. I would
Hmm.
like, just go around the town, and then eventually I started branching out, and I'd take a whole day and go to like a different town. And then I actually rode my bicycle by myself from Vermont, which is where I grew up, all the way to California. So that
Wow,
took
really?
3 months, and it was one of the best adventures I've had in my life.
Wow, that's amazing.
So after that, I got into boxing and kickboxing. I did that for a while. I fought in the Golden Gloves in Massachusetts. I lost miserably.
Really?
I went up, it was my first fight, and I went up against this woman who had had 8 previous fights, and
Oh,
she just kicked the shit out of me.
oh. Oh, that's no fun.
No. So basically the day after I went into bodybuilding, I like went
Oh,
into
really?
the gym and I like tried to get stronger. And it's hilarious because I remember laying on a bench and I struggled so hard with just 25s on each side of the bar. Like I
Uh-huh.
could barely do one rep. Um, and then eventually, you meet people through your journey who help you level up, and somebody fixed my form, and right after that I could put a plate on, and it was like super easy. Like I was just doing it
Oh.
completely wrong. So
Oh, I see. So they helped you to improve your
yeah.
form and everything. Yeah,
Mhm. So that's
that's
the
really
short
cool.
story of how I got from being overweight to bodybuilding.
That's so cool. When you did the long bike ride, did you do solo or did you have somebody with you or like a car to company?
So eventually I left with my best friend, Joey, and but he only made it like 3 days into New York. So we left from Vermont. First you go through the Blue Mountains of New York, and
Yeah.
they're extremely like low valleys and high hills. So not only was it incredibly strenuous, he really didn't understand how to pack for these sorts of adventures.
Yeah.
Like we were kids. He had a backpack with like uh I don't know, too much unnecessary stuff.
Okay.
And he was like really frustrated. So he wanted to go home, which we did. We turned around, we went back home, and then I
Okay.
left again by myself a month later because this is something
Wow.
I really wanted to do. Like I always wanted to see the beach in California. And
Yeah.
I like I loved riding my bike so much. I'm like, why not just ride my bike? And so I did. So I packed up a backpack with like as little stuff as possible, everything that I'd need, and I took off. It was great.
Wow. What year did you do that?
I did that in 2011.
Really? Wow, that's incredible. That's really amazing. Wow. That must have been quite an adventure.
It was so amazing.
Did you ride all the way back or did you fly back or
No, so I flew back.
yeah.
My boyfriend at the time, his boss, she said that I had moxie. And she knew that I needed, a way to get back. So I had sold my bike in California because I had completely run out of money. I had like $1,000, which I spent across the way.
Wow.
So I sold my bike, which was really sad because when you spend that much time with your bike, it kind of becomes like your best friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she bought my plane ticket back home and then she gave me a job. So when I got back, I was an admin assistant for a software company.
Wow.
I stayed there for like 3 or 4 years, I think.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so cool. That's quite a super adventure. That's amazing. Um, now, in terms of getting started in bodybuilding, who convinced you to do your first contest? And like I said earlier, it's amazing that Branch Warren was your first show because I think you already look like a pro up there. You look really good.
That's what everybody told me. And it's crazy because, people tell me that I look really good, but all I ever see is like what I can improve on. And like, I don't think that I look that great.
Hmm.
But Brian Dobson is the one who got me on stage. So I was in the gym just posing by myself, and I guess he was watching me, and he told my husband she needs to do this show and then go do nationals. And so when Brian Dobson says that you should do something, you take it a little seriously. So
Yeah.
I did. I signed up. I committed. I paid all the registration fees, and trust me, there are a couple times where I'm like, I'm not going to be ready. I'm not doing this show, but
Mhm.
because I paid, it's kind of expensive to do a bodybuilding show. I've already
Yeah.
committed, and so I stuck with it, and obviously I'm really happy that I did.
That's so awesome. Yeah, very good. Um, yeah, definitely. It's good that he convinced you to do it too. How long was your prep for that show?
So it was only about 8 weeks, which,
Really?
yeah, it's kind of
Wow.
how I've always done. Like I've gotten very lean several times in the
Hmm.
course of my bodybuilding. Um, and I like to hit it hard and fast. So I don't do like the long extended 24-week preps. It's just
Yeah.
miserable for me. So
Hmm.
I just do like 8 to 12 weeks and
Wow.
stay in shape. That way it's a lot easier to do that.
Yeah, yeah, I totally understand that. That's really cool though. That's great.
Mhm.
Um, I was impressed. I told you earlier about Susan Graham, and she did like a 5 week prep and almost
Oh
won.
wow.
Yeah.
I
And
don't think
she
I could do that.
well, she almost won the Optimum, and then 2 weeks later she won the Omaha. So it was
That's
amazing that she came
amazing.
in such good shape, in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
I was curious, do you have a fitness role model that you look up to?
So yeah, I've had several over the course of my journey. Danny Reardon was always one of my big female inspirations. I think she was just so beautiful and graceful, and just I really into that spiritual sort of person.
Hmm.
Um,
She's
and
amazing. Yeah.
then kind of on the opposite spectrum, my heroes like in the male bodybuilders, like Rich Piana and Dorian Yates, of course, like I told you,
Yeah.
very like monster muscle, and but they do have very good outlooks on life and bodybuilding, things that you can learn from. Like Rich was always a good business person.
Yeah.
Of course, Dorian is like you just learn, just do it, like just suck it up, blood and guts style of training, and
Hmm.
he really showed what that does if you apply it.
Yeah, he's really amazing. And Rich, yeah, RIP to Rich, but
Mm.
he was amazing. Yeah. And I liked
I
how
know,
he
I'm sad I
yeah.
never got to meet him.
Oh he really knew how to market himself, and he was and to promote, his sponsors and everything too.
Mhm.
I thought he was kind of a master at that. So yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
built an amazing brand.
he did. Yeah, he did. Um, now I was curious, this being your first show, bodybuilding show, was it kind of nerve-wracking for you to get up on stage in bikini, or were you comfortable on stage the first time?
Honestly, I was super comfortable. Like I wasn't nervous at all. I had prepared really well, and I think that does a lot for a person,
Hmm.
for a person's confidence, for sure. Is just knowing that you've done everything that you can do, and I said that to the woman, the expediter or whatever behind the stage. You know,
Yeah,
of course, everybody asks, "Oh, are you nervous? Are you nervous?" I'm like, "No, I'm really not nervous. I've done everything I can to prepare, and now it's in God's hands." So, I was really, I just had fun.
that's awesome. Yeah. And how many women did you compete against in the women's physique?
So there were only three. There were three or four in women's physique, and only one other person in bodybuilding because I did the bodybuilding division as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I didn't really have that much competition, but it wasn't really about, competing against other people for me. It was about finally doing this goal that I had set for myself. Because of
Hmm.
course, when everybody, sees a little progress in their gym, they're like, "Oh, maybe I should do a show." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, in a few years." And 10 years later, I finally did it, which was an awesome personal accomplishment. But
That's,
I am kind of excited about having more competition
yeah,
now that I've done the first one and I kind of
sure.
see, what I can do.
It is an issue too with a lot of the smaller regional shows, that there's not a lot of women's physique and women's bodybuilding competitors
Yeah.
generally.
I think it's
Uh,
gotten worse too. Like it's really fallen off.
I know, yeah, and a lot of the competitors who are coming in have moved up from figure, but yeah, it's you're unusual, I think, to go straight into women's physique like that and
Mhm.
bodybuilding, which I'm glad you did that though, because yeah, because you look so good. Um, Um, that's something I was curious about, and we could talk about where you're going to get your pro qualifier, but where do you plan on competing and when, and which divisions do you want to do, or do you want to do both again?
So I think, and I forgot to check with Brian yesterday, but I think that I'm qualified to do, or no, I'm qualified to do the nationals in December.
Okay,
I hope
great.
I have that right because I've been telling everybody that I'm gonna do the nationals in December.
That's
Um,
great. You heard it
but
here
that's
first.
where I hope to get my pro card is this year, and
Oh,
that's
that's,
the one in Irving, Texas.
yeah, so it's local for you too.
Yeah, it's like 10 miles away from my house, so it'll be
Oh,
super easy as far as transportation and logistics go.
yeah. Nice to be able to sleep in your own bed too, I think, and not have to
Mhm.
travel and fly and everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
even less
perfect.
stress than this one, this wasn't very stressful at all. It was just down in Houston, so it was like a 4-hour drive.
Oh yeah, that's true, but it wasn't local. But yeah, that's true. It was in Houston. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I was curious, what was your experience like at Branch Warren Classic, and did you meet any famous pros there, or any Iron Sisters that you liked?
So I had a great time. Like the show was really well run. Um,
Uh-huh.
I would definitely do it again. Maybe if I decided to do like figure or something, because I don't foresee, more physique and bodybuilding girls there at any future
Hmm.
one. But the girls that I did meet were awesome. So I made a couple friends there. That was really cool. I didn't get
Nice.
a chance to meet the pros, like the guest posers, just because, there's so much going on show
Mhm.
day.
Yeah,
You're just very focused on your own presentation and your food and whatnot.
sure.
But yeah, the girls that I hung out with were great. Overall, I had a great time at the show. Uh,
Nice.
I was super happy with uh, like the expediters keeping you in the loop. They tell you exactly what you need to do. Because I think that was probably the thing that I had the most like, worry about. I'm like, well, how am I gonna know like what to do or like when we're doing what? But everybody was really good about letting you know, like, okay, this is gonna happen and this and this and this. So I'm a fan of schedules and they kept us all on schedule. So I'm
Oh,
super
that's
happy about it.
terrific.
Yeah.
I've been to shows where they kind of change the schedule last minute, and that's not ideal, I know, for competitors because
Right.
you're trying to peak at a certain time and they need to stay on the schedule. But so yeah, I don't like it when they change it last minute at all. Yeah. I was curious, did you get to meet Branch Warren himself? He
Oh
was there.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely I mean I've known Branch previously, but I was really appreciative that he made a point to he went out of his way to come up to me and tell me that he was proud of me, then that I did
Nice.
a really good job. So that meant a lot to me.
That's terrific. That's very, very cool. Yeah. Um, yeah, he's kind of a legend in the sport for sure.
Yeah.
And now, I was curious, do you have a preference for women's physique or bodybuilding? And I forgot to ask you, can you do both at the nationals, or do you want to do both?
I don't know if you can, and I'm sort of undecided as to whether I would want to do both anyway.
Hmm.
I did do both this time. I entered three divisions actually, the true novice physique, open physique, and open bodybuilding,
Wow.
because I wanted as much stage time as possible. I really wanted to get comfortable. I wanted to sort of feel like I belonged there and get more exposure. And it worked exactly as I had hoped that it would. Like the first time I went up for true novice physique, I wasn't exactly nervous, but it's the first time I did it. So I was more in my head, like thinking about my routine and making sure I did it right. And then
Hmm.
after that, I mean, I went on, two or three more times and then of course with the night show, it was another three times. So every time I went on, it was more uh, like I could just be more free, and I felt like I belonged there. Uh,
Cool.
and it's cool. It is cool because like I've always been someone who is sort of avoidant. Like I keep to myself. I'm very introverted. But there was one moment when I walked out on stage and I purposely like looked at the whole crowd and I looked at everybody. And
Mm.
I saw like a lot of people like standing up with their phones, like recording me, and like they're excited to see me.
Oh,
It's
nice.
something I have never experienced in my entire life. And it was
Wow.
like I'm getting chills right now, like on my scalp, just thinking about it.
That's great.
So that was so amazing. As far as doing both again, I don't know if I would do it or not, because I thought that I would love bodybuilding more because that's always sort of what I've leaned more towards.
Yeah.
Because I study posing, but I study like all male posers, so of course I do like the male bodybuilding
Hmm.
poses a lot, and that's what I was more comfortable with. But
Yeah.
posing on stage, I think, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but I think the reason that bodybuilding was so popular in the 80s and 90s is because it was really beautiful. It was
Hmm.
aesthetic. It was something like, you're achieving this higher state of being or whatever.
Hmm.
And when I was doing the women's physique posing and the routines, I I felt beautiful. Like I felt more like I was in the flow of things, and it
Hmm.
just felt more natural to me. So
Yeah.
I think that I probably would stick with women's physique over bodybuilding.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. I could see you doing really good in both. It's hard to say which one you do better in. Um, the nice thing with women's bodybuilding is there's not as many competitors.
Yeah.
But the nice thing with nationals though with physique is the top two, I think, in each class get the pro card. So maybe your chances are better with physique.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't think about that.
Like, Andrea Shaw, she got second. I think it was in the 2018 or 2017 nationals
Hmm.
in her class, but she got her pro card, and so she went on to.
Was she in bodybuilding at that time? Or
No,
physique?
she was in physique.
Mm.
Yeah, so because with the bodybuilding, they don't do top two for each class. I think it's only the number one in each class because
Oh,
it's
is
just
that just because there's usually not that many competitors?
exactly, yeah. So yeah, physique, yeah, maybe it would be better for you to stick with or if you could do both, I think would be good too. Um,
Yeah, if I'm able to do both, I may just end up doing that.
yeah,
Probably for the same reason I did both at this last one, just more exposure and um, I really enjoyed it. Like I had fun being out there. It was very exciting. So I'll probably just do both for the love of being on stage.
Oh yeah, I
And I'm
understand.
already there and all dressed up, so why not make the most of it?
That's true. That's very true. I think, yeah, I think it would be a good move. One thing I was curious about when you went up on True Novice, did you get to see the judges? Because I bet they're like, are you for real? You know?
Yeah, so the lights are pretty bright. Like it's hard to see too many people. You can kind of like make people out. And
Hmm.
also my vision's not very good, so that probably doesn't help.
Mm, sure.
But yeah, I didn't try to look too much at the judges. I just sort of like I don't know, stared kind of off into the distance, or I would focus on my husband or Brian because they were sitting down there watching me.
Yeah.
Like, all my friends were sitting on the couch up front, so that was nice. I was able to just like focus on them,
Oh, nice.
so I didn't
Very
have to
good.
be too nervous about the crowd.
They had a couch up front?
Yeah,
Wow,
it was
that's
pretty
pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, Brian and Branch and Trish, and then like my friends at one point were sitting up there, so
That's awesome.
that's the
That's
real
really,
VIP section.
it is. That's real VIP. Wow, that's awesome. Um, so I was curious, since this is your first ever show, I was just curious what surprised you the most at the show? Like, what was maybe the most unexpected now that you've actually lived it, you've competed in a show.
Yeah. Um, I mean, there's not probably the one thing that stood out was that moment of looking out at the crowd that I just talked about and
Yeah.
seeing that people were like excited to see me and really just the feeling of belonging because that's
Mm,
not something that I found very often in my life. I've always been one of those people that just doesn't feel like they fit in, that I don't really belong anywhere.
mm.
And so that feeling was very unexpected and just very, very beautiful, very satisfying.
That's awesome. Yeah. And yeah, you were in your element, being
Hmm.
amongst bodybuilding fans and competitors and everything. So that, yeah. Was it a well attended show? Did it have a good number of people?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The crowd was full for both prejudging and the finals. And then, of course, I think it's great that they've started doing strongman and powerlifting events in the same venue. Uh,
Yeah.
just because it does add so much volume to the crowd and the extra vendors. So it's
I've
pretty.
seen that at the expos, and it's amazing watching the power lifters. And I've even seen some of them. I think the Arnold and maybe the Olympia have like the slap fighting, like they have
Oh
weird stuff
yeah,
like that too. Those are fun to watch too.
yeah, that they're fun to watch. I would never do one. That sounds terrible.
There, I did see a bodybuilder did it recently, and I forget what her name was, but she got somebody like smacked the shit out of her, and
Oh my God.
it didn't look like much fun.
No, it's not for me.
Oh man. So I was curious, did the judges give you any feedback on where you need to improve your physique or presentation?
So I haven't gotten feedback yet. I didn't see them after finals. I was going to fill out the form that they have online and just see what they can offer me as far as critique. My
Sure.
self-critique, I think I definitely need to work on my arms. I think out of anything, my arms could get a lot bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love upper body, like working arms, and I still love working shoulders. That's like one of my favorite days.
Uh-huh.
I've gotten like a lot of elbow pain, so it's just so much harder to do arms nowadays. So I don't
Really?
as much as I used to, but I just got to figure out how to fix the elbow pain issue, and then
Huh.
I'm back up.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, be careful too. Is that something you might need surgery for, do you think? Or
Oh no, definitely
no?
not. It's like a
No.
soft tissue thing. Like I think
Mm,
probably the fascia is just real knotted up.
mm,
I find that when I do reverse wrist extensions, it makes it better. So I'm able to actually train them a little bit. So
mm.
it's definitely something, fascia or muscular wise, like I'm not gonna need surgery. I just gotta work on it.
Sure, I understand. I was curious if I know the Texas Pro is going to be coming up in your area, I think August 9th. But
Mhm.
I was wondering if you're going to go to that show because people are going to say like you should be up there on stage.
No, I probably won't go to it. I'm really just gonna focus on like so for this month, I'm hitting the gym like hard and heavy again. The month after, I've been considering doing a month of hot yoga. So every year, I do at least 1 month where I just focus on hot yoga because it
Hmm.
helps keep my fascia really pliable and flexible. It's so good for like your organs and just your whole body, like internal,
Hmm.
your hormone health, everything.
Hmm.
So I like to just take a month and do that to really heal everything. Uh,
Hmm.
because health is definitely my priority. Like I want to be around for a long time.
Yeah. I've,
And then after that, it'll basically be I'm gonna start prep because I am gonna do like a longer, not like a hardcore prep because I don't want it to be like super stressful mentally, but I'm
mhm.
gonna start cutting down so I can come in even drier and harder for nationals.
How long of a prep do you want to do for nationals?
I mean, it's gonna be about like 3 or 4 months. Like
Mm.
the first 2 months will kind of be like just an easy, cut out all the extra stuff, and then
Yeah.
the last 8 weeks will be like more of a real prep.
Okay. That's terrific. That's very cool. That's exciting. Yeah. Now, do you have a prep coach now?
No, so I'm self-coached, which
You
is
are really?
why, yeah, yeah,
Wow.
it makes it like even more satisfying. Like I did that.
Wow. That's
I did the
amazing.
work and I did the brain stuff. Uh, yeah, I love it. I love studying, just how to get better and all these different nutritional and training strategies.
Hmm.
I do follow like other people's programs. So, like I've been following John Jewett's X Frame hypertrophy program.
Hmm.
Because sometimes I find it's just easier to have a structure, and it's a great program. Like I love it. I love it a lot. Before that, I had hired JP. He's a bodybuilder over in UK.
Hmm.
He wrote me a program that I ran for a really long time. Uh,
Hmm.
that was phenomenal. I put on a lot of mass using that.
Wow. That's terrific. Yeah. That's really cool. You coach yourself too. Now, do you have a posing coach?
So I did hire Sheila Brown. I had a few sessions with her, and oh my God, she's amazing.
Mm.
So I just had a few sessions, and she fixed like so many small details that just really made my whole physique change. It's
Wow.
amazing to watch.
Yeah, I think posing coach is really important. I think actually because I think they can really have show you how best to present yourself, your strengths and everything, and I
And it's
know,
just you can't see yourself the way that somebody else can see you. So
yeah,
like
that's
you really
true.
need that second eye. Uh,
Hmm. And she's local too, isn't she?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Have you got to see her in person for in-person coaching?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
I went
Yeah, 'cause
over
I
to
think,
she does posing out of Josh Wise's gym, Wise World or yeah, Wise World Fit. Uh,
yeah, that's terrific. Yeah, I know she's a really good coach and but yeah, exactly what you mentioned and getting to see you in person, I think is helpful too
yeah,
versus doing it
definitely. And
via
she's great.
Zoom.
Like she took videos of me posing both in the mirror and out of the mirror. She took
Mm.
pictures, so it was really so not only do you learn how to pose better, but
Hmm.
it's also sort of validating for yourself to see, okay, that's what I look like. And
Yeah.
like I look great or I need to improve on this. So it's just there's so much value in having a posing coach, especially Sheila, because she's like the best.
I was one thing I was thinking, just had this thought now. But it would be cool if you could see like a hologram version of yourself, like a 3D version.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
I'm sure it's coming soon.
Yeah, that's true. If posing coaches out there, got to invest in the technology, I guess.
Right?
Because then you see yourself in 3D. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So that would be interesting. So yeah.
I think that'd be a great tool.
I know it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. I was curious if you could give any advice to ladies who are looking for a good coach.
So I would say if you're looking for a coach, don't just look at like their clients on Instagram and the show day pictures and stuff because that's really not representative of how they may affect your life.
Mm-hmm.
So look for a coach that like really cares about you and asks you questions, that they care about your health, and not just your physical health, but like your mental health, your financial health. Like make sure that they're asking you like, are you really prepared to do this? Like, do you have your finances, are your relationships in order?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times, I mean, a coach can get you in great physical shape, but I mean, if they don't really care about you, they're gonna do their job, quote unquote, and then if they ruin, your internal health, you're left sometimes having to fix yourself for years.
Mm-hmm.
And so just be really, really careful and be just make sure that they care about you. That's what I would say.
I like that. That's good advice.
Hmm.
I do think that a lot of what good coaches do is kind of take care of the mental side too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. And that I think that shows that they care too, that if they're looking out for your mental health as well.
Yeah, because that's something that I didn't really understand when I first started thinking, oh, well, maybe I want to coach people. Is like because I just loved writing programs.
Hmm.
But I mean, a lot of people can write a program. A lot of people can write a diet, whether it's effective or not is a different story. But there's so much that I think that people just starting out don't understand that goes into creating a great physique, as far as like the hormonal things you have to consider, the amount that stress will affect the physique, and whether your plan is effective or not.
Hmm.
Is the body is just so complicated, and everything is tied into each other, like all the body systems, your mind, your nervous system has a
Hmm.
huge impact on the way that everything works. And like it's just people don't understand it until they've you know been through it for a really long time.
So yeah, that's good advice. It's getting good note. I was curious, do you currently coach people yourself?
So I've never really been successful with the coaching. Like I offer it to people because I want to help people. So,
Hmm.
I can't tell you how many free programs I've written for people, and they're good programs. Like I believe in them and I know that they would work for people if they applied it. But like
Mm.
for some reason, people just don't apply it,
Mm.
or they like just don't take up my offer to help them in the first place.
Yeah,
And I've done the personal training at like gyms and stuff, but that's really not like it's just not up my alley. It's kind of boring for me, and it's the same thing. Like people, they don't work hard, and I don't have patience for that. Like
yeah, sure.
very 100% or nothing. um and I just think that people don't apply what I give them, and so the
Yeah,
coaching has just never been satisfying for me. So
sure.
we do other things. Robert and I, we do solar panel detach and reinstall for
Okay.
the majority of our income.
Oh,
Uh,
well, cool.
which honestly, I love that too. Like I love being up on a roof at the crack of dawn.
Uh-huh.
Hear the birds chirping, and it's usually in a really beautiful area. So that's a lot of fun. And
Nice.
then of course we have our smelling salts and beard oil and apparel, which I love running that business too.
That's
Just
great.
it's very satisfying because it's something I've never done. So I get to learn how to, do all these online e-commerce platforms. And even if you just make one or two sales a day, it's like, yes,
Yeah, it's satisfying
success.
with that. Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned getting up on the roofs. There's a bodybuilder who I've interviewed a few times now, but Brittany Parrish, who's a
Oh yeah, I've seen her online. I actually keep meaning to reach out to her because I'm like, hey, if you need solar panel detach and reinstallers, we're your people.
oh yeah, she's really cool, and her company is run by bodybuilders too. So the linear roofing company. So
Awesome.
yeah, you should connect with her for sure.
Yeah, I've definitely got to because we have several roofers in our area, and we're
Mhm.
the only solar panel specialists that they'll hire because we do a great job.
That's
Not,
cool.
not just like tooting my own horn, but like we're proud of the work that we do.
That's terrific. Yeah, I think that's awesome. Yeah, you definitely should connect with her. She's just such a cool person anyway. So,
Nice.
and
Okay,
I
I'll
think
send her
they
a
can
message.
pro debut next year. She's taken this year off, but just growing this year. So
When did she get her pro card?
she got it last year, I think at North Americans, I think.
Nice.
in bodybuilding. So yeah, and she's doing bodybuilding for sure. So yeah, she's really amazing. And
That's awesome.
yeah, um, I was curious, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of prep for you?
Oh man. Okay, so definitely I love to bake and to cook, and not being able to make my little protein desserts and cook like I love Italian food, so I cook a lot of Italian food.
Really?
Sucked. Like no way around it. It sucked.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I bet that would be sucky, I bet you.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like after my show, I went out and I bought like so many ingredients and I bought like new kitchen gadgets and I'm making all of these things that I dreamed about for weeks.
Really? That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah, I made a carrot cake yesterday, but it's all like it's really healthy. It's protein dessert. So it's made out of like dates and carrots, a little bit of oat flour, protein
Nice.
powder, of course, and they're phenomenal.
That sounds really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you wouldn't even know that it was protein.
that's nice. You can eat that too again.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, I understand that. That would be tough though. So do you bake and cook when you're in prep and just give it to other people? Give the food?
No, it's too tempting for me. Like
Yeah.
it's funny. I honestly say that I have no willpower. So for me to be able to do this, I have to create my environment to be very friendly to someone who has like no self-discipline.
I
So I
understand.
can't have it in the house. Like I really just can't do it.
Oh,
And
I
maybe
totally
that's like
understand.
a mental challenge that I'll overcome at some point and get
Uh-huh.
better at. But yeah, for this last prep, I was like, no, nothing in the house except for chicken and fish.
Totally understand that. Yeah, you don't need that temptation. Makes it harder, I think, having that temptation
It
around.
does, it really does.
Um, talk a little bit about, you mentioned about your businesses and what do they do and what are y'all selling again?
Yeah, so definitely we do the solar panel detach and reinstall. So we are contracted by several roofers in the area. Like if you have hail damage and your roof needs to be repaired, we come out, we take your solar panels off, and then
Oh,
after the roof is repaired, we put them back on.
oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, our work is warranted, and everybody that we've worked for loves us. Our clients love us. And then
Nice.
the thing that I mostly do, Robert does a lot of the networking for that, and I do a lot of the SLB powerlifting work. So
Hmm.
all the e-commerce. We sell smelling salts, which if you don't know what smelling salts are, people usually sniff them like right before a big lift. And
Hmm.
I actually use mine a lot. So Roberts are super strong, like the strongest on the market, I would honestly say.
Really?
And mine are toned down just a touch.
Okay.
But so I'm from Vermont. My smelling salts are called Valkyrie's Vengeance, and it smells a little bit like wood smoke because that's
Oh,
what I grew up smelling, and it's
nice.
very reminiscent for me. And I love it. So I use mine all the time. And the big thing about it, the reason that I use it is because it helps more oxygen get into your body. So like
Okay.
more reps, you can lift heavier. And I don't typically use it right before a big PR. I just sniff it like periodically throughout my workout to keep the oxygen like moving through my body so I have more endurance.
Nice.
They're great. They work great. And so we sell those on several different platforms. Our website, of course, Amazon, TikTok, all those different places.
That's awesome. And what about the beard oil?
Yeah, so we just started that. We're sending out samples to people, getting feedback. So far, everybody loves it. It helps like it makes his beard like really soft and it smells
Oh,
great. It smells like cedar leather.
nice.
People love that so far. And then of course we sell shirts and hats too.
Okay.
It's the next level apparel shirt, so they're great for training and they're just really comfy.
I think I told you I'm follicularly challenged and I can't use the beard oil
Yeah.
because I can't grow a beard. So, but I could buy it for somebody who does.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's true. That's very cool though. I think that's awesome that you guys have those businesses going. Um, and in terms of your husband, we talked about he's not a bodybuilder, but he's a power lifter. So how long has he been doing that? And do you guys does he is he kind of like an honorary coach and help you with coaching at all?
Is he what?
Kind of like an honorary coach? I know you coach yourself, but does he
Yeah.
help you with the bodybuilding prep?
Oh yeah, no, so he's been powerlifting, I think about 10 years now.
Yeah.
He does it competitively, he loves it.
Hmm.
And I've helped him with his a couple of his preps before I
Okay.
started mine because I helped him with a couple of his competitions.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he does. He offers some opinions, and mostly the way that he helps me is he gets me out of my head because I will look at myself and I'll be like, "Oh my God, I look terrible," and he
Yeah.
just, like looks at me like I'm gonna slap you.
I
So
understand
that
that.
in itself is worthy of an honorary coach status. But no, no, I really do all the detailed programming and stuff myself. But
Wow.
I can't say that I truly did it by myself though, because I had his help emotionally, and then the OGs at Metroflex. I am so lucky to be surrounded by so many experienced people who
Yeah.
really want to see me succeed. Like
Great.
Metroflex is like a family.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, I couldn't have done it without their advice and their encouragement. So it took a community to make something great.
Is that where Ronnie Coleman?
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
Ronnie himself, he said, if I didn't win, the system is rigged.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So,
definitely.
when Ronnie Coleman is hyping you up, that's pretty badass.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, he's amazing. It's cool that he's still, really active with the sport. And
Hmm.
yeah, he's just so crazy too with his, physique when he was Mr. Olympia and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, I think honestly, the thing that I admire the most about him is he's like so patient and he always has time for fans. Like, he
Really?
never gets annoyed about it.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I think that his openness and his willingness to allow people to really love him is just very inspirational to me.
That's awesome. He does. Yeah, he definitely seems like a really good guy. And I know he was a former cop too. So he that was his profession to help people essentially. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now I know you're in the Dallas Fort Worth area. How long have you lived there? And that you find that there's a supportive bodybuilding community there?
Yeah. So I moved out to Texas from Vermont about 5 years ago.
Mm, very
I was
cool.
just so sick of the snow.
Yeah.
Take me somewhere hot.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. I did come out here partly for the bodybuilding community, which has been great. I feel like I have really made a lot of progress in the
Yeah.
past 5 years, and part of that is who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, no, that's true. And yeah, Vermont doesn't come up in bodybuilding circles that much, but I know, Dallas Fort Worth is big on it.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of great bodybuilders in the Northeast, don't get me wrong. Like, we have a very like salty, put your head down and do the work attitude. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of great bodybuilders out there. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's definitely not there's not as much of a spotlight as there is in Texas. And it feels sort of natural. Like, there's so much sunshine out here and everybody's it's a much different attitude in Texas than it is in the Northeast.
Oh, I bet. Oh, yeah, it's a big difference for sure.
Mhm.
I think if Bernie was like jacked, maybe be more popular in Vermont, maybe.
Yeah. I'll have to write to him.
Yeah, it could help him with his
Bernie
presidential.
Sanders, get jacked. And
I can't do a Bernie impersonation, but I could see him doing that, just to
yeah,
help him get more votes too, maybe.
that would be hilarious.
Or even like a little bit of AI, maybe the,
Mhm.
the jacked version. I was curious, do your parents support your bodybuilding career?
So they don't really understand it. Like, they
Yeah.
don't hate it, but they're just like they're very like indifferent about it. So
Really? Yeah.
yes and no.
I'm hoping they'll come to some of your shows though, especially when you turn pro. They have to support you.
Well, I mean, they're still back in Vermont.
Yeah.
They don't really travel too much, so
Oh,
but
really?
I'll send them pictures and they're just like, good job.
Oh, really?
Glad
Oh,
you're happy.
I
That's
guess New York Pro and Pittsburgh are probably the closest to
yeah.
those. So yeah, maybe they could come to, when you compete on those shows. So
Yeah, that'd be cool.
No, I understand that though. Yeah, sometimes the parents don't understand or they don't necessarily support so much, but
Yeah, I mean, I grew up, I grew up in a farming family, so it's kind of like they just don't understand going to the gym to do work when
yeah,
the work is like going out to feed the cows and the chickens and, mop the trenches or whatever. Like you work every day. Like they don't understand the bodybuilding culture, uh,
yeah, I
which I
understand that.
get. So.
I totally get that. Yeah, that makes sense too. But yeah, well, but yeah, I understand that. But that would give you like a good base, just like, baling the hay, throwing the hay
Oh
around.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, my real hero, my lifelong hero is my grandfather. Like
Mm,
he ran the farm. He was an electrician and a carpenter. So he had that whole business. Like he worked from dawn to dusk,
wow.
and not only did he work constantly, ran a huge farm, he was also just very playful. Like
Mm,
taking blueberry picking, and we'd go to the Cabot cheese factory. Uh,
nice.
he'd have me like close my eyes, and he'd like have me eat something, and it was like a salted fish, and I've never had a salted fish before, and it was disgusting. But it was just so he made every day with him so much fun.
That's sweet.
But he also just, he built a whole life. He was like a patriarch of a huge family, and he was just incredibly impressive and amazing.
That's great. He sounds like a good role model too, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I've spent my whole life trying to live up to him.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. That's great. Yeah. Um, I just got a few more questions for you. You're still good on time?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
In terms of, I know you're relatively new to bodybuilding, so you don't have as many followers as I think you're going to be getting soon, but do you have to deal with any trolls on social media, in terms of being a bodybuilder, a female bodybuilder?
Not really. And I think it's also because, I've laid pretty low and I don't have that many followers or that much exposure.
Hmm.
I feel like I also don't really attract that much nonsense. Like if people want to be negative, I generally will just block them
Oh,
because
good.
I don't
Yeah.
like I just don't want to entertain any of that. I don't want it in my headspace.
Yeah. I
I'm not
understand.
necessarily bothered by it because like I do understand that what people do is a reflection of themselves. It has nothing to do with me.
Hmm.
But still, like that's not something you want to keep in your, aura.
Oh, exactly. It can bring you down. Toxic people can really, yeah, make you feel miserable, I think, too. So yeah, I think blocking them is a good idea.
Mhm.
Have you seen an uptick now that Chris has posted the video?
Yeah, I think I gained like from either 30 to 50 followers, something like that, which
Wow, very good.
it's still not much. I have like 230 followers or something.
Oh, I'm surprised. I thought you'd have more by now, but
That's what Robert says too. He's like, man, I'm surprised you don't have more people following you. But
well, you got the FBB forum bump, so you like
yeah,
that
I'll probably have 100 more by tomorrow.
would be awesome. Yeah, I know the fans, y'all better follow her. Y'all better come through now.
Yeah.
I was curious if you've had to deal with any overzealous fans, and if so, how have you had to deal with them?
If I had what?
Any kind of overzealous fans?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have dealt with that quite a lot over the course of my bodybuilding career.
Yeah,
And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I was always so very avoidant is because I never had good abilities to set boundaries. So
yeah,
I would like, I was a people pleaser and eventually I would get in situations that like were just not good for me. And so
yeah.
I eventually just started, shutting everybody out so I could
Hmm.
never get hurt or never like be uncomfortable. And but that's not good either because you can't fulfill your purpose that way. So I
Yeah.
actually had to learn how to set boundaries. And
Hmm.
honestly, I'll just like if they're polite and just sort of overzealous, I will kind of just respond whenever it's convenient for me, whether that's like in a day or a week or whatever. Like I don't I do try to respond because I understand everybody has good intentions and but yeah, I definitely am very aware of how to protect my own peace at this point in my life.
And don't forget about the block button too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can always block them too. So yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's no, that's good advice too, I think. And yeah, you know, as you're building your audience too, and more people know about you, it's going to be, you have to do that more probably, but yeah,
Hmm.
don't hesitate to use that. Um, do you ever find yourself to be like the target of fit shaming? Because I'm amazed that y'all even have to deal with that, you know,
I
but
know. When I first heard about that too, I was like, what? Why would somebody be negative about, people getting in shape? But now I don't really, I haven't experienced that. And I think part of that is a lot to do with my personality because I'm very focused. Like wherever I go, I'm very focused. Like when I'm in the gym, I don't really talk to people or like look at people too much. I'm focused on the
Mhm.
workout. When I go to the grocery store, I'm like, I don't spend a whole lot of time meandering. Like I'm in and out of places. Like I try to get
Sure.
things done. So I don't, I just, my attention is on a goal. It's not so much spent worrying about other people. So I think even if people were fit shaming me, I wouldn't even know it.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's good attitude about it too. And again, I think that kind of comes back to some insecurities that these folks might be having.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I try to present, like a light. So like I want people to get some value from me.
Mhm.
And it may be nothing more than like my presence, but if my presence can be empowering to somebody or show them, something good, then I'd say that's worth it. And uh, yeah, I don't know, people who have nothing but negative things to say or do, that's really just all about them. And it has nothing to do with me, and I unfortunately can't even help them. Whether I wanna be a light or be helpful or provide value, like, it doesn't matter because they're not gonna be able to receive that or to see it.
That's a good point. That's good attitude too. I think I like what you said there. Hmm. Yeah. Um, Now I was curious, uh, you know, how do you think we can get more fans to support the pro bodybuilding and amateur bodybuilding shows too? Because I think that, you know, more female bodybuilding fans need to show up and buy tickets to the show, see the ladies live, but also buy more live streams. But do you have any opinions on how to get more fans to show?
Yeah, I mean, I think so stuff like that always comes down to money, like, how can you make it profitable? Um, I think as far as making it interesting, maybe more marketing,
Mm,
probably. Uh
yeah.
locking in the competitors that are going to be there and doing really good promotional advertising flyers
Mhm,
like come see this athlete uh, at this show on this live stream. Make it what I've been working on, like with my own business, is making it easier for people and more accessible.
mhm,
So sharing the link, making it like a quick, two-step checkout, um, confirming appointments, like just making it visually appealing, making it very easy for people. Because the easier it is for people to watch it, and the more like you can create this hype of what it's going to be, I think the more people would get involved with it.
mhm. We talked a little bit about before the interview started too about getting bodybuilding back on TV, like ESPN and NBC used to show a lot of the shows back in the day. But what do you think in terms of trying to get it back on TV again too?
Yeah, I think as far as that goes, I guess you really just have to set up a meeting with, whoever makes those decisions and um, just have a really well laid out presentation of like why this would be valuable. And it's got to be more than, the bodybuilding fans want to see it. Like we have to explain to them why this would be valuable to them, like as an
Mhm.
addition to their roster of shows.
Hmm.
So I think someone who's really good at sales would be able to make it happen.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, maybe IFBB could hire somebody like that that is really making those partnerships and deals.
Someone who can just really like sell the sport for all of its positive qualities.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, from what I've heard, so many people were introduced to bodybuilding by watching those broadcasts back in the day.
Mhm.
and they were inspired by it too. So yeah, I just love to see more TV
I think
coverage.
like a creative marketing, um, something done in the style of like American Gladiator. Like, remember when that was the big thing?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think that if we were able to create like a hype sort of like that, like it's a very American and exciting sport, and here are your competitors. I think that would be really cool to watch, and I think that people would enjoy it, and maybe we could sell it to the ESPN and whatnot.
I love that. And that there is a really good American Gladiators docuseries that's on Netflix. I recommend checking out.
Mhm.
It's really
Yeah, I
entertaining.
watched most of it.
It
It was
is. It's really worth watching and it's good. I always thought you know that bodybuilding could take a page or two from wrestling and like maybe even have a little bit of like kayfabe beef kind of thing going
Yes,
on, you know?
definitely. And so it's funny you mentioned that because I've actually been looking into doing some wrestling training
Really?
because I really enjoyed my stage time and I enjoyed I mean it's like a performance basically. And
Yeah.
so I've already got this character, like, the Valkyrie girl. So I think it would be really cool to create a wrestling character
I
and
think that would be so cool. I love that.
yeah.
And you could have like for TV, like the backstage beefs, like I'm calling you out, Brittany, you know.
Yeah.
Do like a Randy Macho Man Savage kind of thing, you know. And with the wrestling belt too, you have the big belt, you know, you go.
Yeah. No, I think I could do a lot in the wrestling scene. So, get my pro card and then just go be a professional wrestler.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. There's Jordan Lynn Grace, I think, is one who's doing that. And she actually entered a bodybuilding show, but she's known as a wrestler for years. And I love the belt
Her
too.
name sounds familiar, and I can kind of place a face to it. And yeah, I think I loved her too when I looked into
She-
her.
And what I would do too is I'd put like the belt up between the arms of the logo, you know, it'd be kind of cool holding
Yeah.
up the belt. So I'm just being silly. Um, well, I was just wondering if there's anything I missed that you'd like to address, or is there any people you'd like to shout out?
No, I think this was a great interview. I'm really appreciative to you for having me on it. Um,
Thank you.
and hopefully we'll do another one in the future.
Yeah, definitely. When you get your pro card, for sure, we'll have to
Yeah,
talk. Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And tell the audience, how old are you?
I'm 33.
Wow. Yeah, you're just really wise. I think for 33, you just have a good head on your shoulders. So that's cool.
Yeah. Well, like it came with a lot of hard-won wisdom.
Oh
Or
yeah, I bet.
hard-earned wisdom.
I like that.
Yeah.
Probably from working on the farm too, and your grandfather and everything too.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And would you mind doing a double bicep pose for me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Wow, Amanda.
I've got some food in me again, so my arms look big.
Oh, you look terrific. Yeah, amazing. One thing I wanted to point out too, just before I forget, there's another Amanda Doherty that is a IFBB pro figure, but I don't think she's competing anymore. So, but just didn't
My
want people to,
husband found her too. He's like, there's another Amanda Doherty, and I'm like, really? But yeah, I think she was figure.
yeah, she's figure. Yeah. And I don't know if she competes anymore too, but just so that folks don't confuse her with you. So
Yeah. Well, we look pretty different. I
you
don't think
do,
that's
yeah.
a
That's
problem.
true. Yeah, y'all do look different for sure. Well, thanks again, Amanda. It's really good talking with you, and I'll get this posted soon. But thanks for your time.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.